Welcome to Nerdy and Flirty, a podcast designed to help you create a life that you love. It's nerdy with science-backed information, and it's flirty. It's fun, it's quick, it's straight to the point. My name is Cass, and I have a really important episode for you guys today. I feel like I say this every single week, but this one is just so close to home because we're talking about how to chase your dreams. And we're talking about it not in a woo-woo type of way, not in a here's a step-by-step guide, because all of us have different dreams. All of us have different purposes in this life. And I can't tell you the step-by-step, but what I can tell you is the mindset to get you there. One of my favorite quotes in the entire world, it might be literally my favorite quote, is leap and the net will appear. I'm going to say it again. Leap and the net will appear. So many of us spend our entire lives preparing and building this hypothetical net, and we never actually take the jump. And when I talk to people that are older than me, people that are in their upper years of life, one of the biggest regrets that I hear is that they wish they put themselves out there more. They wish they went for it more. And what I would hate to do is spend my life not going for things in fear that I'm gonna fail or in fear that that net's not gonna be there. Every single thing that I am proud of that I've done in my life so far has been things that I've done that I wasn't quite ready to do yet. It's when I lived by this principle of leaping and then the net will appear. Every single thing that I'm proud of in my life, I've done when I wasn't quite ready. And guess what? Every single time that net appears. Every single time the things that I was worried about or the things that I wasn't ready for figured themselves out, and it led to even bigger and better things than I ever could have imagined. And if I never took that jump, I would have never gotten where I wanted to be. I don't want this to come off like I'm bragging in this episode because you can do this too. It's more so just the mindset that you have to adopt of taking the risk because everything figures itself out. Let's say you have this dream that you want to take this risk and you want to go for something and you're a little bit concerned, you're a little bit weary about it, but you do it anyway. There's a few things that can happen. First of all, what everyone hopes is it goes exactly the way you want it. That's great. It goes exactly the way you want it, and now you're happy you did it. Another thing that can happen is it doesn't go the way you expected, but it actually turns out better than what you anticipated. How many times has that happened in your life where you wanted something to work out so bad, turns out it works out completely different, and you're actually so happy with the result? And then the thing that most of us are worried about is we take a risk and we fail. Right? But what is failing? Anytime that I've taken a risk or I've done something out of my comfort zone and it really doesn't go any way that I would have wanted, it turns out to be some of the biggest lessons that could have ever happened in my life. There are things that have gone completely opposite of what I wanted to happen. I've been embarrassed. I've been let down. I've quote unquote failed. But every single time I look back on my life, I think about those things and they literally catapulted me to something better later down the road. Not immediately. Immediately it sucks. Let's say there's a job you want, you go for it, you don't get it. Everyone knows you didn't get it. You're completely upset. You're completely broken down about it. And then 2 months later, something completely better happens that you would have never gotten if you got that job that you wanted to begin with. And this can happen for anything. It can be relationships. It can be career related. It can be school related. It can happen with anything. But the point is, you would have never known that outcome if you didn't take the leap. I know way too many people in my life from all different ages that have regrets about not doing something. There are way more regrets about not doing something than actually doing it, and you have no idea how it will work out if you never even try. One of my other favorite quotes is fail fast, and that is something that I live by. If I'm gonna put myself out there, I'm gonna go full blown at it, and I hope that I fail fast and learn from it. I would rather fail fast and learn from it and overcome it than never put myself out there. And I'm not saying that it's easy. This whole mentality is not easy, and it's something that I work on every single day with myself, and there's been a lot of times where I've had to look at myself in the mirror and say, what's the alternative? You never do this? You never chase your dream? It's so much easier to not do something because you're in your comfort zone all the time. But you know what's not easy? It's not easy looking back on your life and saying, I wish I did that. I wish I put myself out there. I wish I went for that job. I wish I went for that person. I wish I went for that dream. That's not easy. That's not an easy thing to live with. That's not an easy feeling to live with, even though in the moment it feels easy to be in your comfort zone, even though in the moment it feels easy to not put yourself out there, but it's not easy looking back on that. It's not easy living with that. You know that thing that you want to do. It probably comes up in your head every single day, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's writing a book, whatever you want to do. I'm sure that dream is in your head every single day, and it's telling you every single day to work on it. And maybe you don't share it with your friends. Maybe you don't share it with your family. Maybe you don't even share it in your diary, but in your head, you know it. What is that dream that you're living with every single day? I bet every day you think about it and every day you feel like, oh, dang, another day went by that I didn't do that. That's not easy. Yeah, right now it feels easy to not go for it because you're not a little bit uncomfortable. But it's not easy living with that nagging thought in your head every single day of, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? And then 80 years goes by and you look back on your life and you say, I wish I did that. If you have grandparents or you have an elderly person in your life, ask them. I bet they have something. So many people have something that they look back and they say, I wish I did that. I wish I traveled more. I wish I went on a solo backpacking trip. I wish I asked more people out. I wish I went on more dates. I wish I started a podcast. I wish I wrote a book. I wish I spent more time with my family. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what that thing is that you want to do. What matters is that you're not doing it, and every day you feel bad that you're not doing it. And trust me, I get it. Everything I'm saying right now, I have no script in front of me because this is so true to me because I've lived this. I've done this and I still do it. There are things now that I still want to do that I procrastinate on and I don't do because I'm scared. It's normal, but you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you can do it. And trust me, when you take that leap, all those things you're worried about figure themselves out. They figure themselves out. Whether other people start to help you or you finally meet someone that knows exactly what you've been missing and has that missing piece, it figures itself out. I mean, look at your life. Think about a risk you've taken. It all worked out, didn't it? Somehow, some way, whether it was a lesson you learned or it really worked out the way you wanted it to, it works out. I really think one of the keys to feeling fulfilled in your life is doing things you're not quite ready for. Going for something that you're not quite ready for, living in a little bit of discomfort truly makes you feel really good about yourself long term. It builds your confidence. My confidence stems from the things that I've done that I wasn't quite ready for. It's so easy to tell yourself, just one more course, just one more book I'll read, just one more podcast I'll listen to, just one more YouTube video I'll watch before I'm ready. And you do that forever. There's this thing about lifelong learners and people that just learn their whole lives and they know everything about this dream that they want to do. They know how to start it, where to go, what to do, what website to use. They know every single thing, but they've never actually done it. Don't be one of those people. You can watch every YouTube video, listen to every podcast episode, do every single thing to learn about that dream that you want to do. But if you never actually take the leap, you're going to be learning about it forever and nothing's going to change. Nothing about your life is going to change if you're just learning about it all the time. And trust me, I get it because I've done it and I've been there and I've watched every YouTube video about starting a podcast and I've watched every podcast episode about starting a podcast, but that doesn't make me actually start the podcast. That just teaches me things I've probably already learned. And the truth is, you could watch every single video and learn every single thing, but there's still going to be things that come up that you don't know, and you won't know that until you actually start. There's still going to be things that you're going to have to figure out, and it's not easy. It's simple. It's so simple for me to say, but it's not easy. But what's the alternative? You never actually do it? Can you really live with that? I know for me, I can't live with that feeling. One of my biggest fears in this life is that I'm going to grow old and I'm going to regret not doing something. You hardly hear people regret something that they've done. Because like I've been saying, those things that don't turn out the way we want usually lead us to the biggest lessons in our lives. Like every single bad thing that's happened in my life, I look back and I'm like, that really put me where I'm at right now and I'm grateful for that. But you know the regrets people have? It's the things that they didn't do. It's the things that they didn't do that they regret not doing. And I do not want to be 80 years old looking back on my life and saying, I wish I did more. I don't want to look back and say, I wish I took better care of myself. I wish I spent less time on my phone. I wish I did more. I wish I talked to people more. I wish I gave more to the community. I wish I did more. I don't want to say that. And I have a really big feeling that you don't want to say that either. It doesn't matter if you're 16 or 60 listening to this. You can do it. It's not too late. It's not too early. You don't know too much or not enough. You just have to take the leap. We see it all the time. I mean, there are amazing people out there doing amazing things. Look at the Olympics. Our team, our USA team, is built of people from every single background, body type, height, age. We have all different types of people with disabilities, everything, doing the most elite sports in the world. You think they're not a little bit scared? You think they're not a little bit uncomfortable putting themselves out there? I'm sure they are. I'm absolutely sure. But is that stopping them? You don't think they're scared to fail in front of the entire world? You don't think they're scared they're gonna mess up in front of the entire world? Or scared to get last place out of the most elite people? I'm sure that they're a little bit nervous. But does that stop them? No. Do they have the courage to still put themselves out there? Yeah. And that's the key. That is the key to living the life that you want to live. Some of the biggest entrepreneurs I've ever spoken to, they weren't top of their class. They weren't valedictorian in school. They don't have the most degrees or the most experience. You know what they have? Courage. Courage to go for it and a little bit of faith in themselves. And guess what? When you ask them, aren't you a little bit nervous to do this? Isn't this a big risk? You know what they say? Yes, I am a little bit nervous, but guess what? You don't know until you try. That's what they say. And that's the difference. They don't stop their dream because they're scared. They're scared and they just do it anyway. They understand that there's risk. They understand that there's problems that could come up. But rather than letting that be their entire focus to never do anything, they do it anyway. And they say, I'll figure out the problems when they come up. That's the difference. And that is what we all need to adopt into our lives. It can be anything. You don't have to have a dream of starting $1 billion company. It could be something so small in your life that you really want to do that you know will bring you joy, but for some reason you can't get yourself to do it. You can't get yourself to put yourself out there a little bit because it's scary. And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I'm saying this because I actually care about you. And I'm saying this because it will truly transform your life. Taking that little risk, taking that little leap, it feels so scary, but at some point you feel a little bit free. And that's what's worth it. It's so much easier to live every day the same and repeat the same habits and the same conversations and the same thought patterns every single day, but that doesn't change anything. And especially if you find that you're complaining about your life to the people around you, saying you're not happy, you're anxious all the time, you're down all the time, you don't feel like you have a strong sense of purpose, one of the best ways to get out of that is take a risk. Take a leap and listen to that little voice in your head that is telling you every day what you should do. You know what you need to do. It's in you somewhere. There's a dream in you. We all have a deep desire to do something and to achieve something. And a lot of us silence that, but that little voice is telling you everything you need to know. It's not easy. It's not easy, but it will really build your confidence. It will build your sense of self, your sense of purpose. And every time you do it, it gets a little bit easier. You could start with the smallest little risk, the smallest little form of discomfort. Maybe go somewhere by yourself. Go out to lunch by yourself. It's a little uncomfortable, especially if you've never done it. But then the next thing that you do, now that you've already had that out of the way, the next thing gets a little bit easier and then easier and then easier. And now you're doing big risks. And you're not as scared because you've already done a bunch of other ones. You get the momentum going and you build on that confidence. You build on that sense of self. It's really hard to have confidence and believe in yourself if you've never done it and you've never proven it to yourself. And the best way to prove that to yourself is to do things and actually figure it out. Because you'll see, once you actually take that leap, you'll amaze yourself at how much you're able to figure things out. But we can't spend our whole lives just building the net and preparing for the worst and never actually taking the leap. Having that net means nothing if you never actually take the jump. And most of the time you'll realize you take the jump and that net you built isn't even going to help you because other problems come up and other things come up that you weren't expecting, and you still have to figure it out. And that's okay. That's part of it. Do you think I felt ready when I made this podcast? No. Do you think I felt ready when I wrote an ebook and promoted it for people? No. Do you think I felt ready when I spoke in front of my graduating class of 7,000 plus people about my life story? One of the most vulnerable moments in my life? No. But every single one of those things I forced myself to do, and I look back and I'm so proud I did them. And those things like really built my confidence in my life. And every single time I do something like that, it feels a little bit easier. It's not easy. Never gets easy, but it gets easier because it's so rewarding when you actually do something that you didn't quite think you could do and you prove to yourself that you can. And I want you to really think of some things right now. Think of things where you took a risk or you did something you weren't quite ready for and you proved yourself wrong. You proved to yourself that you could do it. How good does that feel? I'll tell you what, it feels better than doing something you already knew you could do. When you do something you know you can do, okay, it feels good, but like you already knew that. Then you do something out of your comfort zone and oh my gosh, what a rush of adrenaline. And now your confidence bar just got a little bit higher. Whether you want to switch careers, start a new project, move to a new city, meet someone new, whatever it is, take the leap and the net will appear. It's always going to work out. Even if it's not how you expect and it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to, trust that it's going to work out and it will. I'll give you one more of my favorite quotes. It's hung up on my physical therapy wall. I look at it every single week and it says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I hope this episode lit a fire under your ass a little bit and pushes you towards your goals because there is nothing like working on something that you're truly passionate about. If you're looking for a sign to start, this is it. If you're looking for fulfillment in your life, find your sense of purpose and pursue it. Pursue it every day. Take a little risk every day. And I promise you, you'll feel more confident. You'll feel more aligned with yourself. You'll feel more fulfilled in your life. All that anxiety in your head every day, that'll reduce a little bit and you'll feel better. If this resonated with you, share it with someone that needs to hear this. Because we're all chasing a dream in our head. We all have a passion in our head that we might not be actively pursuing, but we want to. So share this with them. Share this with someone you love and let me know what you think on the Instagram at Nerdy and Flirty Pod or at Cass Camp. I know this was a little bit different than my other episodes, but I really felt a strong desire to put this out there. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.